Shock and sadness across LA and the entertainment industry. The wife of a music titan is killed in her own home.
Yeah, police tell us the victim was 81-year-old Jacqueline Avant, whose husband is legendary manager and mogul Clarence Avant.
Now, let's just be honest, man. Most of you guys didn't know who Clarence Avant was. He's very low-key. He's behind the scenes. He's not like Diddy. He's not like Suge, Baby, Master P, somebody who's also an artist and, or was, had a high public profile. This guy is a huge figure in the music industry. I would compare him to Clive Davis. Now, if you don't know who Clive Davis is, then that's another thing, okay? This is not like Jimmy Iovine or, any of those guys on that level. This guy's bigger than that. He's a titan in the music industry to the point where all those guys, Jay-Z, all those guys, they revere him. Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis say this is their idol. This is a big fish right here. This is not something where it's like, some rapper or some, CEO of some record label. No, this is a huge fish right here. Clarence Avant. And I don't want the fact that most of you guys probably never heard of him until a day or two ago. I don't want to let that go by. This is a major figure.
Let's begin with KCAL9's Jeff Nguyen in Beverly Hills, where police gave an update on the investigation. Jeff?
Amy and Leslie, right now, detectives are still on scene, which is why news cameras are being kept behind that yellow police tape. But allow me to direct your attention to what's right above me. Beverly Hills has a network of cameras, and earlier, the police chief told us his detectives are combing through them.
Okay, so we all know Beverly Hills, California, ultra woke place. However, these people have been getting targeted for years, and it's ramped up just like all crime since 2020. And these people out here are super woke. These are the elites, the Hollywood elite. If Clarence Avant lives out here, this is like the neighborhood he lives in. Like, I don't even think ball players probably live out there. It's like, unless you're like Tom Brady or something like that. Like, this ain't a place where, just a regular ball player. Well, this is like big. These people price everyone out, and they believe in safety, even though their woke policies and their woke agendas make everyone else in the state very unsafe. But they have a network of cameras. They have security guards. They have their own personal security. These people, although they may say defund the police, they never go anywhere without security guards, okay? So it's just defund the police for you. And you're stupid behind that would be dumb enough to say something like that when you live in a Crip or a Blood neighborhood. These people, it's all police all day long with them. Okay, in their personal lives, their private lives.
Detectives are combing through them.
I cannot believe this is happening to our neighborhood.
Well, I think you guys don't understand. California, these people begged for this stuff too. This was not forced upon them. They demanded this. They conjured this up in their own mind and demanded this. They were super criminal justice woke before Floyd. And then when the Floyd happened in the Blackistanian Spring, they just went into overdrive. They're releasing something like 60, 70,000 inmates over the next couple of years, man. I mean, these dudes, yes, many of them aren't in on violent crimes, but that doesn't mean that they're not violent people. Like I could catch a, you know, a, I could steal somebody's car tomorrow, but I could also be a gangbanger, and I could just go to jail for stealing the car. But they're letting a lot of inmates out over the next couple of years. It's only going to get worse. And I know you guys been seeing the videos, the young lady getting robbed at her gated home, and then the people in the restaurant. I know you've been seeing these videos. All these videos are down here in Melrose, Beverly Hills, Calabasas, all these rich suburbs, Burbank, these richer suburbs of, more affluent suburbs of Los Angeles. And these people are seeing it and they're feeling it. Okay? And this right here, it gets no more realer than Clarence Avant's wife getting smoked.
I cannot believe this is happening to our neighborhood.
Our chopper captured a shattered sliding glass door from the Beverly Hills home that police say belongs to Clarence and Jacqueline Avant. Detectives say Mrs. Avant was shot and killed during a home invasion early Wednesday morning. The motive is unclear. The Beverly Hills Police Department got a call of shots fired on Mater Place just before 2:30 a.m. Officers found Mrs. Avant with gunshot wounds.
Okay, so at this point, we're going to go to the breaking news, which I waited for. I knew about this story. I told you guys that I wasn't going to cover this story until the identity of the perp was revealed. And now we have a perp.
Now at 4, breaking news: an arrest in the shooting death of Beverly Hills philanthropist Jacqueline Avant. How police were able to find a suspect so quickly.
See, I knew it was going to be a brother. I knew that. Like, I knew it was going to be a son, man. There was no doubt in my mind. And all of you guys knew it. And the media is not covering this story. This is not a national story. Clarence Avant is a huge figure in the music industry. He got the clout of all the guys I named earlier, Puffy Suge, combined, Jermaine Dupri. Like, he has their clouts combined. Master P. Okay? You don't even know. He's so big you don't know his name. That's how deep in the game he is. That's why they call him the Black Godfather, because you don't even know his name. You don't even need to know this guy. If you not deep in that game, you don't even need to know Clarence Avant. And this guy, some rando with a rap sheet longer than a CVS receipt, broke into his home and killed his wife in a home invasion. And it's no conspiracy. You're going to hear a lot of conspiracies, the Illuminati, none of that. This is what they do up there. Break-ins and stuff, that's what they do up there, man. I'm telling you, man. This is what they do. They terrorize these LA County suburbs. It's almost like a feeding ground. It's like the sharks are the gangsters in LA, and these people are like bubble guppies, man. Like, they just, like, they don't have the thirst. You can't compete with a guy who will come in to your house and shoot an unarmed 81-year-old woman multiple times, down like a dog. I think most of us would, if we were in that life, and we were doing the home invasion, we'd grab her or, point the gun at her or tell her to, she'd get in the fetal position and just curl up in the corner. And you tell her, I don't think a lot of us would shoot her down like a dog. But you can't compete with guys like that. That's what I'm telling you. That's why you guys need to stop talking about you don't want police around. These people have police around. This guy just slipped through the cracks. Somehow, these guys are just so brazen with these crimes out here that they don't care. But they caught him.
How police were able to find a suspect so quickly. Good afternoon. I'm Juan Fernandez.
And I'm Leslie Medellin in today for Susie. This is KCAL 9 News at 4, and we're streaming on CBSN Los Angeles. We do begin with that breaking news. A suspect is in custody in the shocking murder of a music executive's wife.
Police say private and city security cameras helped them identify him. Jacqueline Avant's shooting's death during an apparent break-in left neighbors in fear and the LA community in grief. KCAL 9's Rick Montanez is live in Beverly Hills with details on the suspect and what led police to that quick arrest. Rick?
What, and Leslie, as if the news of this arrest wasn't enough, this one comes with a twist. Investigators say they found their suspect at a second crime scene where he apparently shot himself accidentally in the foot.
Don't let that go over your head. After this guy had killed basically the highest ranking black guy in the music industry. I don't know help me out if you know somebody bigger than Clarence Avant. He's the preeminent, the highest ranking, the top dog when it comes to Sun people. After the guy had just killed his wife, 81-year-old wife, shot her down like a dog, went straight to another crime scene where he accidentally shot himself. You can't compete with these guys. Stop talking about defund the police. Stop talking about, well, I'm just going to handle it myself, man. I don't need the police, man. What's going to happen when your grandmother, somebody breaking your grandmother's house? You don't think Jacqueline Avant was somebody's grandmother? That's why I hate when these thug dudes talk all that. Man, I handle it, man. You know, they could call me. So if Jacqueline Avant had called her thug grandson, and told her it's a guy in my, how long is it going to take you to get out to Beverly Hills? Well, he would be at the second crime scene shooting himself by the time you got there.
What, and Leslie, as if the news of this arrest wasn't enough, this one comes with a twist. Investigators say they found their suspect at a second crime scene where he apparently shot himself accidentally in the foot. The murder of Jacqueline Avant, matriarch of a well-known family in the music and entertainment industry, shocked the community. Now, some relief as police announced the arrest of the man suspected in her murder.
Yeah, that's good. We are happy that police is doing something.
Beverly Hills police say Jacqueline Avant was shot and killed in her home in the exclusive Trousdale Estates neighborhood Wednesday morning around 2:30. An hour later, more than 6 miles away in the Hollywood Hills, LAPD responded to a burglary call where the suspect apparently shot himself in the foot. In this video, you see LAFD treating the man. Beverly Hills Police and LAPD now say 29-year-old Ariel Maynor is the suspect in both crimes.
I think it's too early in the investigation to get to the motive. It may have been or may have been targeted, and for what purpose, we don't know. We're still looking at that.
Chief Mark Stainbrook also says detectives believe they now have the gun used in the murder in evidence. LAPD recovered it at the second crime scene.
We ended up getting our rifle in custody at this burglary. An AR-15.
Now, do you believe me, pasty liberals and sisters, super woke sisters? All these dudes are not in prison because of minor marijuana offenses or traffic tickets. Okay? Because that's what they were saying for years. It's minor marijuana. That's what led to the decriminalization of marijuana. Because they've been talking about decriminalizing marijuana for decades. It wasn't until they used us sunmen, like they always use us for everything, and said most sunmen are in jail because of minor marijuana offenses. And then boom, magically, marijuana decriminalized all over the country, and it's almost going to be federal. It's about to be federal. These dudes are in prison because they throw boulders at the penitentiary. Okay? We're talking about dudes that we're not talking about. We're talking about Acme-sized boulders. They throw boulders at the penitentiary. That's why there's the disparity. There's a disparity in the prison population. Well, yeah, yes. You ever listen to a rap song? Those dudes ain't lying about what they talking about. Okay? Ever watch Vlad TV? Every dude on there. I was watching them one interviewing D.L. Hewley. D.L. Hewley was on there talking about, I was a gangbanger. D.L. Hewley used to walk around with a gun, getting in all type of stuff when he was a teenager. Comedy saved him from a life in the penitentiary. And it wouldn't have been for no minor marijuana offense. It wouldn't have been because he's a son, man, and they just put him in jail just because he's a son.
An AR-15.
Avant was married to record label executive Clarence Avant, the so-called godfather of black music. He was home at the time along with a security guard.
He was home at the time along with a security guard. Okay, so when these wokesters tell you defund the police, criminal justice reform, let everybody out of jail, always remember Kim Kardashian, Jay-Z, and Beyonce. Always remember T.I. These people, Madonna, Sean Penn, Anderson Cooper, Don Lemon. Always remember. Alyssa Milano. Always remember, they have a private security guard. Okay? That's in their house or out front of their house almost at all times. And there's not a Crip set or a Blood set claim in their neighborhood. You live in a set where Blood set, GDs, Vice Lord, somebody's claiming your neighborhood. The local clique or whatever. And it's violence every day. And you let people like this tell you to defund your police.
He was home at the time along with a security guard. Neither of them was hurt. The police chief now trying to reassure his city.
To our Beverly Hills community, let me reassure you, this is one of the most protected and patrolled cities in the world. Crimes of any kind will not be tolerated here.
There's now more private security at the Avant home. One neighbor who says she was the victim of a home invasion a few weeks ago also now feels a bit safer since someone is in custody.
Yeah.
So his neighbor was a victim of a home invasion a few weeks ago. I told you, these people always been fooled out here. But since 2020, it has ramped up considerably. So, there you have it.
One neighbor who says she was the victim of a home invasion a few weeks ago also now feels a bit safer since someone is in custody.
Yeah, of course. We feel much better than yesterday.
And police believe Maynard acted alone. They say he has an extensive criminal background, but would not give details. Also, since he is still in the hospital, investigators have not yet been able to interview him. They say that will happen when he is cleared medically and then booked. Live in Beverly Hills, Rick Montanez, KCAL 9 News.
This is a remote part of Beechwood below the Hollywood sign. Neighbors here still buzzing about what happened in the early morning hours of Wednesday. We'll show you the video captured by a stringer at 4:30 in the morning. The suspect, as you mentioned, Ariel Maynard, being transported by paramedics, handcuffed to the gurney after police responded to a shots fired call here on Graciosa Drive, again in the Beechwood Canyon area. He's been hospitalized with a gunshot wound to the foot, apparently shot himself with an AR-15, allegedly trying to burglarize a home here. He's 29 years old, is a longtime criminal, sentenced in 2013 to 5 years for robbery, paroled. Sentenced in 2018 for robbery, paroled, described...
Sentenced in to 5 years for robbery in 2013, was paroled. Sentenced for robbery in 2018, was already paroled. So let me tell you how racist the criminal justice system is. He did 5 years for robbery. That's 2013. He got locked in 2013. He gets out in 2018. Let's say he does a little less than that. He may have got out in 2017. By 2018, he's already back in prison for the same charge. And they still let him out before 2021 because he's obviously out now. So he's on the streets to do this. So think about this. And this system is supposed to be racist. And it's supposed to be... in many places, in like Chicago or Philadelphia, those charges might have gotten thrown out. Those 2 robberies might have gotten thrown out. Dismissed. He might not have even gotten sentenced for those charges. And y'all running around talking about make it easier for these guys? And his sisters who live in the community with these guys know daggone well what these dudes be doing. You can't even let your kids go outside and play, sister. What are you talking about? Make it easier and make the system easier for these guys.
He's 29 years old, is a longtime criminal, sentenced in 2013 to 5 years for robbery, paroled. Sentenced in 2018 for robbery, paroled, described by the Corrections and Rehabilitation Department as a transient. As we go up top to the aerials of this area, you can see that it's very remote, hard to get to, very unlikely that the suspect came to this house just randomly. Neighbors here who were woken up by the police and the helicopters talked about what's happened.
The guy was there. They found him. They had him in handcuffs now, and it was around 4:15 or 4:30. And they put him in the back of a police car. He had a gunshot wound to his leg.
What do you think about that?
I mean, I'm glad they caught him. But yeah, it's scary. I don't know.
Now, we wanted to give you a sense of the relationship between these 2 locations. We're all familiar with Beverly Hills, of course, but Truesdale Estates and the area where the woman Avant was murdered, allegedly murdered, is also very remote. And that about 7 miles away, you come off of Franklin, you come north on Beechwood, if you've ever come to the Hollywood sign, and then you wind into these very narrow, very difficult streets to navigate. So at 3:30 in the morning, it would have obviously been very dark here. And the neighbors tell me that this home that Maynard allegedly was trying to burglarize when he shot himself, Alex and Christine, was formerly a halfway house. Nobody is home there. The neighbors around here, all behind gates, except for the ones we spoke with. 2 huge barking dogs. It's that pink stucco house you see behind me. So, again, you heard from the police during Christie's report a lot of unanswered questions in this case. Why was he in Beverly Hills at that location? How did he come to this location, which is very difficult to access to? They haven't yet had a chance to talk to him, but those are things they definitely will want to know. But the important thing at this point is that they believe they have their suspect under arrest.
Okay, so this is the guy. This is what he looks like when he's not writhing in pain and, being wheeled on a gurney to an ambulance. We're talking about a real deal savage, man. A goon. Out there hunting in the Hollywood Hills. A shark in the water. Dolo. For Dolo. I do my dirt all by my lonely. This is him in prison. I mean, he spent a lot of time in prison, but not enough, obviously. I mean, that 2018 robbery, God, he's already back on the streets. Man, And I know dudes like this, man. Y'all know that. I mean, I know guys like this, man. Nothing gonna stop him, man. It just, the only thing can stop him is prison. Unfortunately. Do I wish something else would stop them? Yeah. Do I wish there was some program or something, or some speech some older ex-con could give? Listen, man. Dude just a criminal, man. This is what he does, man. Like, it's not like a fake thing. Like, he's not doing this, for rap, so he can rap about it, or doing this so he can, feel like, no, this is what he does. This is a career, my G. Like, think about how many he didn't get caught for. This is one night out of his life. Just think about it. One night out of his life, he kills Clarence Avant's wife. Then he goes to another place to rob it, and he shoots himself. That's one night in his life. And we know this is what he does, given the fact that he's been to the penitentiary twice for robbery. So we know this is what he does. Just think about how many times he's done it and hasn't been caught. That's what you need to think about when you're talking about criminal justice reform. Let that sink in your head. You can be stupid and think, oh, this the only time 3 times he went out. He 0 for 3, right? You think this brother's 0 for 3? Yeah, right. He got caught in 2013, then in 2018, then he got caught again. He tried 3 times to rob people, and he got caught. No, it's not like that, man. You get caught like... Let me just say this, like, this is probably a higher degree, because what he's doing is more, in a heavily policed place and heavily, cameras and all that stuff, heavily guarded. But if he was just burglarizing regular homes, everybody didn't have cameras and and the police weren't always swarming around, you probably get caught 1 out of every 20 or 1 out of every 30. And that might be low. Put that in your pipe and smoke it.